Grief is a thin place. A place so thin, it's hard to tell where earth ends and heaven begins. Grief is a place so thin that it's where the living and the dead feel one another's love. I'm Lisa Hamilton, an Episcopal priest, and I grieve. First, I'll read some scripture that many Christians use in worship during Lent. And then I'll struggle with those words through the lens of grief. I'm glad you've joined me. Today's scripture is from Psalm 81. Hear, O my people, and I will admonish you. O Israel, if you would but listen to me. When my son Ted was dying, friends, in shock and sorrow, asked how they could help. In my shock and sorrow, I found comfort in two things. First, I found comfort in pride that Ted had checked on his driver's license that he wanted to be an organ donor. And secondly, I found comfort in believing that death would unite Ted with his dad, Scott, whom we lost when Teddy was barely 2. And so I asked friends and family to light a candle to help light Ted's way home to Scott, to heaven. It wasn't long before my Facebook account was alight with pictures of candles, and I knew that flickers of love surrounded me. I knew my grief, too deep for words, was heard. I think I showed every one of those pictures to Ted's closed eyes, talked to him, although he could no longer hear. I lay next to him in his hospital bed much of his last week on earth. I wanted him to know that although I couldn't hold him back from heaven, I would know the gift of others holding my sorrow. And he would have his way home to his dad, lit by love. Sometimes when it is dark in every way, I remember candles and remind myself they are still being lit for my family and me. Sometimes I even smell the melting wax, and I swear it smells of kindness. Even now, people post pictures of candles for me on days they know are particularly hard. This past Christmas morning, I woke to a picture my godson had taken of Scott's and Ted's graves. He had swept the snow off their side-by-side headstones and placed several votive candles in a row along the markers. It was beautiful, and it was a gift from all 3 of them. I don't think there's anything grievers long for more deeply than to be heard. If others would just listen, we can breathe. There's a poet named Patricia McKernan Runkle. She wrote a poem called When You Meet Someone Deep in Grief. It goes like this. Slip off your needs and set them by the door. Enter barefoot this darkened chapel, hollowed by loss, hallowed by sorrow. Its gray stone walls and floor. You, congregation of one, are here to listen, not to sing. Kneel in the back pew. Make no sound. Let the candles speak. Grief is a place where candles speak. Grief is a thin place.